So the next scenario, we're going to run through our app baseline assessment. This is for a regional healthcare provider, and then the situation is the customers, they're moving their applications to a new data center. This is probably very common in your world. And there's latency between the new data center and disaster recovery location. That's the biggest concern, right? Is loss of visibility, performance, post-migration, pre and post-migration. So with that, we will launch into scenario number 2. And in this case, Eleanor is going to act as the E+ rep.
Awesome. Here we go. Hi, Steve. How is your data center migration project coming along right now?
Well, to be perfectly honest, it's been put on hold until we can determine how our business critical applications could be impacted by such a move. I mean, we literally have more than 100 applications out there, and of course, each department claims that they're business critical, and we really don't have a handle on how they're performing now, let alone post migration. And I just feel like we're flying an airplane in the dark.
I think I understand, Steve. You're essentially the pilot of this jumbo jet, and flying in the dark means you've got like 100 gauges and they're all blinking red. What you really need is to prioritize the ones that tell you about critical functionality of the plane, fuel level, altitude, engine performance, speed, etc. I mean, there's lives at risk if you don't get this right.
Well, that might be a pretty dramatic example, but that's exactly how I feel. I mean, and at the hospital, there really are lives on the line. So as my co-pilot, do you have any suggestions?
Well, staying with the symbolism here, I think I have a parachute for you, Steve. Our partnership with Riverbed has really helped other growing customers like yourself to better assess business critical applications, prioritize them, and identify the hidden risks that are really lingering, especially around a big event like a migration. It's called their application performance baseline assessment.
Well, that sounds interesting, but what's that going to cost me? I mean, I'm already way over budget on this migration project.
Understand. Would it be worth an investment of, say, $29,000 to immerse yourself in a 10-day engagement with Riverbed's performance experts? What they'll do is set up all the tools necessary to assess 5 of your most critical applications prior to your migration. And they'll even predict the post-migration performance impacts that you can expect. If the engagement proves valuable, like we would expect, we can then look at expanding to those remaining 95 applications. A lot of customers actually decide they want the tools to evaluate this kind of performance all the time. I can have a Riverbed account manager on the line within an hour. What do you say? Do you want to take a look?
That certainly sounds like a much more reasonable solution at that price for a parachute. Sure. Okay, so in this case was another actual Riverbed customer, in that we had a large US healthcare system they're a growing nonprofit, 120,000 employees and operating in over 22 states. They're moving a new data center, and they were concerned about that latency to their disaster recovery location. And our solution was to bring in our app baseline for over 100 applications. Now, what we did is identified 10 at-risk applications and expanded their existing Riverbed platform to deliver a performance monitoring center for these priority applications after the fact. So it was an ongoing checkup on how things are performing along the way.